There is a phenomenon out there that's called growing broke. You can be so successful that you run out of money. It makes you think you have money and you don't, because it'll show you a profit, but you don't have any cash. Sales is only a measurement of how much work you did. That's it. When you look left and there's a bus 4 blocks away, that's the problem. The farther away you can see it coming, the more options you have in your business.
Most entrepreneurs don't fail because they lack effort or passion. They fail because no one ever taught them how to understand their numbers. And when you don't understand them, you end up working harder, stressing more, and still feeling like you're on the edge. Today, we're talking about how to see your business clearly in minutes, not months. We're going to learn where hidden cash is actually hiding in your business, how to make decisions without overwhelm, and how to turn your numbers into clarity, confidence, and control. So if you've ever felt like you're flying blind, this is the conversation that brings everything into focus. Welcome to Inspired by Success. I'm Linda Vo, and today's guest is Cashflow Mike. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Linda, can you believe it? It's live from San Antonio, Cashflow Mike. So, hey, thanks for having me. This is going to be great. I mean, we had some great banner right before, so I'm really expecting great things to happen over the next hour.
Yes, I'm super excited about this because I believe finance and numbers is so crucial in business success. So there is a huge problem, and I'm also a culprit of flying blind. I've done that and I've made many mistakes in my business. And so a lot of entrepreneurs make the same mistakes as well. And a lot of entrepreneurs are actually making money, but they're still stressed about cash. Why does success not actually feel like success for most business owners?
Well, I think we're all successful. Everybody that seems like they've just blew up overnight, they'll all tell you they're 10 or 15 year overnight successes, right? It just takes time, no matter who you are. When you hear the stories about, oh my God, that just happened overnight and it was just only took a year or 2 or 3 months or whatever it was, chances are you didn't see all the work before that. You only know what you saw when you saw it. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to, it takes a little bit of time. Just don't give up on it, right? So that's why it feels like it's not success, because it's not instant. It's never instant. It's not winning the lottery. It's you actually putting in the work every day.
What is your experience with businesses and cash flow problems? Because, when people hear financial statements, they shut down. What are business owners actually afraid of when it comes to looking at their numbers?
Nobody wants to look at numbers. Just nobody does. The only number you want to look at is your bank account. And I'll tell you, when you look at your bank account, it's only going to tell you one thing. Do I have money or not? That's it, right? It doesn't tell you how your business is operating. It doesn't tell you the things you should be focused on. So you end up just wasting time, trying to improve your business in all the areas that you think it's broken, when you haven't taken the time to use the financial statements to actually find where it's broken.
Where should people focus more deeply on then when they look at their financial statements?
Well, it kind of depends on the problem, right? So when I'm talking to folks, I've got this technique from a book I just wrote called Don't Tell Me What to Do. And that focuses on finding what I call the burning issue, right? And the burning issue is one of 6 things. Most business problems can fall into one of 6 buckets. And it's cash flow, of course, profitability, debt. It could be an operations problem. Something's broken, just the process that you do. It could be an education problem. You don't know what you don't know. It could be the future problem. You don't know what your business is worth. You don't know what you're working for, right? So those are the 6 big problems. And what I try to do is when I'm communicating, and you can do this on your own. You don't need an advisor like me to do this, but you can do it on your own. Just ask yourself, hey, what's going on in your world? What's happening? And most people will be able to tell you. Like, oh, man, I just don't know if I can make payroll. Oh, I don't sleep at night because I can't pay this bill. You already know where the biggest pain is, right? So you don't got to go look for more problems. You're feeling the biggest one, at that time.
Yes. You mentioned cash flow too, because I've been in that situation. That's why I'm laughing. And I'm like, and I hear other entrepreneurs do, like in the stories and people that I've interviewed, paying the payroll and big invoices and stuff. And cash flow is definitely a silent killer. So why is cash flow the conversation business owners avoid until it's too late?
So mainly, cash flow is one of those things that you always think about second, even though you think you don't. But you think about it second because we tend to rely on one financial statement. If I could put all business owners kind of in a group, in a bucket, they're going to look at one. All of them say they look at their income statement, right? Or their profit and loss statement. And really what that tells you is how much you sold, how much you spent, and what's left over, right? It's going to tell you that you had a good or bad month or a good or bad quarter or year. That's about it. That's about all it's going to tell you. It doesn't tell you how cash came in or when you actually spent it, right? Because if you sell things on invoice, you might say, I made the sale in January, but I don't get the money till March. That's cash flow. The difference between profit and cash flow is profit is your business model. Does it work? If I price something at this price, can I make money at it? Cash flow is when money actually comes in or goes out of the business. So the two don't make sense to folks. Are you familiar with the two basic accounting methods? Like
Explain.
cash, and accrual?
No.
Right? Okay. All right. So cash method's pretty easy, right? That's an accounting method that just accounts for money as it actually moves. As money comes in, you record the sale, even if the work happened 2 months ago. As money goes out, you record the expense. That's the cash method. On the accrual method, you actually record the sale or the expense when it happens, except for not with the money, which means I can make a sale, give you an invoice. I record the sale today in November, but maybe you don't pay the invoice till December. Well, I can't get the cash and record the cash transaction until then. So the difference is the timing of when things happen. So what I try to do is tell people that when you're using a cruel method, that you need to think of it as cruel. The
Cruel method,
word
yeah.
cruel. Like, so man, it makes you think you have money and you don't, because it'll show you a profit, but you don't have any cash. And you'll say that like, I'm making money. How come I don't have any? Right? That's what people feel
Mm.
like. Right. And it's just because of the timing of when things are happening. And some people get caught into the trap where they're going to spend the money that they sold thinking it's there, but it's not in your bank account yet. Right. Because you'll see profit. Oh, I can spend so much more, but you don't have the money yet.
I think that's another part of things, that the thought and the mentality about cash as well too. But do you have any thoughts on that, where these issues could occur, whether it just starts on a thought first, and some business owners or don't have budgets and they spend, like me, for example, I'm starting to now put budgets in place, but it's hard because I have to prepay for my things, and it's really hard to determine the cash flow. But yeah, I like to think of it as reinvesting into more stock, more inventory, for example. So, what are your thoughts on that? And is it a thought thing? Is it like subconscious thought? Because I know that I was listening to another podcast, they talk about abundance and whatnot, but it does usually start with a thought. And some people, like you said, just when the money comes in, they spend it. Do you know what I mean? Even when it's not theirs yet. So what are your thoughts on that? And have you had experience with that? And how do you help people with that and overcome that obstacle and
Yeah,
that challenge?
let's start with a basic rule, right? You can't spend any sales, right? Sales is only a measurement of how much work you did. That's it. Sales minus the cost of goods sold. Like if I'm selling shirts, whoever I buy my shirts from, I have to pay them, right? And let's say I buy my shirt for $10 and I sell it for 20. Well, $20 in sales minus $10 for the cost of goods sold, the shirt equals $10 in gross profit. That's the most important number on the income statement. Gross profit. That is the only money you have to spend on your operating expenses or put in your pocket. So you got to think about it that way. You might be $1 million business, but if your gross profit is only $300,000, that's all the money you got is $300,000, because all the rest of it has to go back to buy the inventory to keep making the sales. Is that
Wow.
helpful?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely helpful. Before you build all these different frameworks that you mentioned, or the 6 different frameworks, you had your own tough moments. Can you take us back to a time when you were actually flying blind, like a lot of business owners do?
Oh, yeah. Can you guess what my first job was ever? I've got an MBA out of Baylor University here in Texas. Can you guess what my first job was? Some people can't.
Fast food chain? I don't know. A lot of.
No, I was a state trooper, right? I was a state police officer in Missouri, in St. Louis, Missouri for 7
Oh,
years, right? Is that
wow.
crazy?
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Here's how you get into being an entrepreneur from being a state trooper. I'm writing a student loan check, right? I'm writing a student loan check sitting at the kitchen table for this big degree I got, but I'm still a police officer, right? So I'm writing a check, and my wife comes up and says, "Hey, we're pregnant with our third child." Oh, well, that puts a whole different spin on the monthly finances, right? like, how am I going to support the family? That's a whole different set of expenses. Matter of fact, literally, my family outgrew my income.
That's easy to do.
So I'm sitting there like going, okay, either I can cut positions at home, like going start make every child position like performance based. Those that don't make their bed, they don't eat their broccoli, those type of things, they might get laid off. We might not have 3 kid positions anymore. We might have 2, right? That's all we can afford. But instead, no, I didn't lay anybody off. I actually says, hey, I'm going to have to just go find a way to make money. So I started a janitorial company, right? And I just
A
started
what?
cleaning because a janitorial
Oh,
company. I started a
okay.
cleaning company, right? And this cleaning because what other skills do you have being a police officer except for cleaning? I could clean from the academy. I was in the military as well, so I could clean there. That's all you could do. So I started a janitorial company that quickly became, over the first 3 years, it became a hotel staffing company. So this is where the cash flow problem started, because there is a phenomenon out there that's called growing broke. You can be so
Mm.
successful that you run out of money. Everything work, but you could run out of money. And
Do
that's
you
what
think there's
happened to
that
me,
because
right?
expanding too fast though?
Exactly right. And not understanding the cost of the expansion, right? So I opened 27 offices in 9 states in 3 years, had about 400 people working for me. Every hotel manager was saying, hey, use Mike, use Mike, use Mike. So we were just growing fast, like crazy fast. But what was happening is that I was running out of money. I'm like going, my sales were through the roof. On paper, I was making a ton of money. I'd look at the bank account and go, there's no money. Where is
Mm.
it at? I'm like going, I have to
Mm.
go sell more. I have to go sell more. That was my mentality. If I just
Mm.
sell more, it'll work itself out. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
work
what I do.
itself out. Yeah, it doesn't. Matter of fact, if I sold more, it cost me more. Here's why. I was working with hotel chains like Marriott and Hyatt and Hilton, big names. And I would put people in there to work. We'll say on a Monday, and on a Friday, I would take their timesheet for the week, create an invoice, and send it to the hotel. So every week they'd get invoices. Well, they would sit on those invoices for about 3 months.
Oh
Every
wow.
two
Oh my
weeks,
goodness.
yeah. So every 2 weeks I had to make payroll, right? So every 2 weeks I have to make people's paychecks. Well, that happens 6 times in 90 days. I have to make 6 payrolls, 400, 500 people. The more people I brought on, the more I owed, and I still didn't have any money coming in. So every time I added a sale, I actually added 3 months of debt on top of it.
Oh wow. That's a different way to think of it.
Yeah. So how do we get out of it? I begged
Yeah.
Marriott to pay me faster. You have to stop treating our invoices like paper towel invoices. These are people. And if they were your employees, you'd have to pay them every 2 weeks, right? That's basically
Mm.
what we were telling them. So they moved it from 90 days to about 45 days, and it changed my whole life. Just getting money a little faster from the customers changed everything, because there's a thing out there called the financial gap. And the financial gap is the difference between money coming in and money going out. And the bigger that gap is, the more money it takes to run your business. So think about that. A smaller gap is easier and it takes less money to run your business.
Wow. Do you think, looking back, is there anything else that you could have done that would have helped? Did that solve the problem?
Well, I tried crying. I tried losing sleep. I tried. Actually, what I ended up doing is I actually added more businesses to it, because I did have some cash that had built up and accumulated. And
Yeah.
so I bought this little bar. I was looking for a cash based business. I'm like going, okay, well, if I got to wait for money in this business, I will buy or start another business that gets cash every day. Right. And that's what I was thinking, is that maybe it will work itself out. And it actually did relieve some of the pain, right? Because I had cash coming in every day, and I bought a bar, and then I built a bar, and then I bought a building with a bar in it. Then I bought 9 more buildings, and they all kind of worked together. So I had 5 different companies running at once, and it was easier to manage cash, believe it or not, because the rents came in every month. The bar had money coming in every day, and then I'd wait 2 or 3 months for invoices to be paid.
Wow. Looking back now, did you continue doing that, or are you more focused on narrowing the business down? Because I've heard that when you
Yeah.
have too many businesses, there's a lot of attention that you have to dedicate your energy to. So something usually doesn't thrive when you don't put the energy into it. Or can you have everything and have all those businesses, multiple business, with the right people in place and processes?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, if you have the right process, you can definitely make it work. But we had figured it out, and that's why I was able to sell almost all of that together at once. But when
Wow.
you talk about all these businesses at once I had figured it out and it was starting to run and we were getting money in, the only way I could scale was to add another city location for hotels or open another bar. The only way to scale it is just to add more locations, which
Mm,
is hard to do, right? It's harder to do. So I'm thinking in my mind, I need to get into a business that's easier to scale. So I want to get into software, right? That's
mm,
harder to do when you're a cop with a business degree and you
mm.
run a hotel staffing company and don't know anything about coding.
You just had the
Right?
dream and the vision.
Yeah. But here's what happened. I lost $250,000 based on what you just said. So,
Because
you
you
know how
wanted
all
to just
these,
shift your attention away? Is that why? Or
I,
how did you lose that?
because I thought I had it all figured out and I could just, anything I touched, we could make money with. That's not true because, I had a friend that talked me into getting into what I call now a sideshow venture. It didn't work in
Mm,
the service companies like I was doing. I was in service companies, right? That's basically what I did. He had a retail company where he was selling herbal supplements to like, Walgreens and things like that. Well, so I invested into that one and we lost the Walgreen contract because we didn't have enough inventory turnover. They weren't buying enough. People weren't buying enough of our product. So they dropped our product. So we lost the contract. Well, I'm sitting on all the inventory that we bought to service Walgreens. And well, when you lose the contract, you herbal supplements only last so long, right? And then
oh, wow.
so anyway, it's one of those things where I learned a lesson in retail in about 2010. Lost about $250,000. Now the cool thing is I still own the recipe to the herbal supplement. So if anybody wants to get into an herbal supplement business and they need a recipe, I'll sell it to you for $200,000. Just make the money back. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Retail is difficult. I'm in retail, like e-commerce, and it is the cash flow for me is always the difficult part because if you have to prepay for your invoices and but anyway, I think my weakness has been the numbers, and so I've been trying to learn from people that are experts at the numbers game, and I just take knowledge and feedback advice from CPAs and accountants. But there needs to be a proper clear method. I'm still learning on how to do that. But the idea of analyzing your whole financial picture, especially in minutes, sounds impossible. What happens in those 7 minutes?
Yeah. So what you're referencing is my book called The 7 Minute Conversation. What I had noticed when I was running those 5 companies is that, yeah, there's things going on everywhere. Where do I spend time? Right? Where do I focus?
Mm,
And nobody really ever taught me how to use all of the financial statements, the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement together. So I built this technique called the home run financial system. And the reason I call it the home run financial system is like baseball, it touches all the bases, right? The income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. It's only 6 calculations. But for anybody out there that doesn't know anything about financial analysis and they're a little scared of it, right? Because it can be really hard, it can be really deep, it can be really intimidating. Here's 6 things that even a state trooper can do, right? The math. Basically, what it does is it points to the business or the area of the business that has the biggest problem. So then you can focus on where the fire is, right? So if you're fighting fires, you got to know where the fire is. I'll tell you what they are, right? And you can get this. Matter of fact, if you go to my website, cashflowmike.com, you get a digital copy of the book. You get an hour-long video how to do these calculations to get somebody started. Like if you don't know anything about how to read financial statements, start here. Start with these 6 things. And then a worksheet to kind of help you do it on your own business. I'll write on the top of my website, say, hey, stop here, get this. It's free. Just everybody can, learn these 6 things. But I talk about trends, right? And the trends that I talk about are how they work together. Everybody looks at things in silos. Like here's my sales, here's my gross profit, here's my operating expense. I look at how they relate to each other, right? If one does this, did I expect it? And is this good or bad, right? Those are a couple different questions that I ask about the trends, but how all 4 of those I just said work together and explain what's going on in my business. The second thing I look at is this thing called expense control. And expense control is pretty easy, right? When you have less money to spend, you should spend less money, right? So it's the change in gross profit. When gross profit goes down, right? So gross profit goes down. You should reduce operating expense by the same amount. If you do that, you can make the same money no matter sales, right? And I've got a client that used to do, and these are bigger numbers probably than maybe your listeners, but in about 5 years ago, he did $9 million in sales. Now he's doing $8 million in sales and making the same money. So that's why I say sales doesn't matter. It's only a matter. It only matters how much work you did. You're like, well, how do you make the same money? Well, that he used that rule. The change in gross profit, when it goes down, you reduce operating expense by the same amount. So, and I'll say it more simply, gross profit is the amount of money you got to spend. Operating expense is how you spend it. When you have less money to spend, you should spend less money and you'll make the same profit.
I like that. That's something that I've never heard of before too, because usually, or what about budgets though? Is that similar to it's basically creating a budget?
Everybody thinks cash flow is all about forecasting. Oh, you have to forecast out your expenses, inflows and outflows, and then you create a budget based on what your forecast says. Where you live, do you ever have to cross the street?
Yes, of course.
What do you do when you cross the street? What's the first thing you do?
You look both ways, left and right.
Why are you looking both ways?
Because each side of the car is coming from different ways.
There you go. You're forecasting, right? Think about it. When you look left and there's a bus 4 blocks away, that's the problem. That's the business problem. The farther away you can see it coming, the more options you have in your business. Like you can walk across the street, you can run across the street, you can do a TikTok video in the middle of the street. It doesn't matter. As long as it's 4 blocks away, you got options. The closer the bus gets to you, this is forecasting, right? Oh, it's going to happen next week. It's going to happen next month. The closer it gets to you, the fewer options you have. There are some things that are off the table. Like I can't walk across anymore. I got to run. I darn sure can't take a TikTok video. And sometimes the only option you have is to stay on the curb. That's what forecasting does. Here's what forecasting doesn't do. It doesn't tell you how to make the bus stop. It doesn't tell you how to make the bus turn. It just tells you it's coming. So there's more to cash flow than just forecasting, but that's super important as well. Just like you look both ways.
I like that different perspective. And you talk about hidden cash as well. Where is this money typically hiding, and why don't business owners ever see it?
Yeah, because we're not looking for it, right? We're not looking. We think we're looking for it, but I've got a technique called mining your business for hidden cash. And what mining your business does is it looks below the surface, where things are leaking out. It creates a cash leak map for you. And it looks at your business from 2 different directions. One is vertically, and I call that cash generating activity, starting with sales. Am I selling enough for all this stuff I got? Every time you buy an asset, like a truck, you're an HVAC person or you're a plumber. Maybe you have a truck. Well, you bought that truck to generate money, to generate revenue. There is a certain amount that you should make with that truck. How do you know? Because there's an industry average that tells you that other people make $2 for every dollar they put into a truck. So if they pay $100,000 for a truck, it generates $200,000 in revenue. You just compare what everybody else does to what you're doing, right? So if everybody else is making $200,000, so should I, right? That's one way. But then you got gross profit. That's how you price your goods or what you're paying from your vendors, right? Or paying to your vendors. Then you got operating expense. How do I spend it? Right? So you either compare it to the industry average or you compare it to your own goals. And that's where you focus. I'm not hitting my goal. I'm not as good as average. So there's money leaking out of my business model. The other side is how much inventory should I have? Or how fast should I pay my bills? Or how fast are my customers paying me? That's about the horizontal analysis of the business. How long does it take for these things to happen? Right? How long does inventory sit there? There's a calculation that tells you how much of every single product you should have. And it's super simple. If you want to do math on a podcast, we'll do math on a podcast. Do you want to know it?
Okay. Tell me.
All right. So a super simple calculation. You just take, let's just use beer, right? Let's use cases of beer as an example. Well, people buy a case of beer and then they sell it by the bottle at the bar, right? They buy it by the case, they sell it by the bottle. All right. So at the beginning of the month, you look back at the last month and say, how many cases of a beer, of any type of beer, do I normally sell? and we'll call it, what's the beer where you're at, the most popular beer?
Just say super dry. That's probably what they have in more pubs. Yeah, super dry.
Okay, super dry. All right, so
Yeah.
think about this. You go to the pub and they sell 200 cases of super dry a month. That's the top number, 200 cases. Then you divide that by how many times can I get it per month. So if my representative comes in on Monday, right, and I order and they deliver it on Wednesday, well, that's 4 times a month. I get it every week. So I take 200 and divide it by 4, right? 200 that I sell in a month divided by 4 times I can get it. That's 50. That tells me how many I need to have at the beginning of the week. I have 50. What most people do when they order, they'll just walk into the warehouse and go, oh, I don't know, give me 10 of those and 15 of those and 20 of these, and they'll guess. If you're doing that, you're throwing your money right onto the shelf. And I call it wealth on the shelf. Stop doing that. Take the extra 5 seconds, count it. Oh, I have 63 cases. I'm only supposed to have 50. I'm not going to order any of those today. Or if you count it and there's 30, how many would you order if there was 30 in the warehouse and you're supposed to have 50?
What's the secret weapon behind every top CEO and entrepreneur? A game-changing executive assistant. Hermesi gives you access to elite EAs who supercharge your productivity. From payroll and admin to social media and customer support, they handle it all so you can focus on growth and big picture decisions. These aren't your average assistants. They're expertly trained, thoroughly screened, and equipped with the latest AI tools to work smarter and faster. Ready to delegate and dominate? Get 15% off your first 2 months with code INSPIRE15. Don't wait. Visit Hermesi, that's HERMESSI.com, and take back your time today. Yeah, you got to just order 20 only.
20. There you go. That's how you maintain the right levels most weeks. Now, there's certain weeks of the year, maybe a big soccer match or a holiday where they order in more than the 50. Well, that's only on occasion you bring in a few more. But most every week, you got to have at least 50. This is where I find a lot of hidden cash in a business, where I just walk into somebody's warehouse and say, hey, I can put, we'll say $20,000 in your pocket in the next 90 days, and all you have to do is nothing. And they go, what do you mean? Yeah, see these here? You sell 10, you have 50. I want you to order 0, so do nothing until they get below 10. So you get all the money from the sale, and you're not using money to replace them. I just changed lives right there.
Yeah, it's so simple, but because I do that when I'm ordering, I just order what I think is needed. And I think a lot of people in businesses I don't know, unless you have data there to back you up, which I'm starting to rely on somebody who is a financial analysis, and hopefully he can create these spreadsheets and dashboards to help me eliminate and find hidden revenue as well. But you've helped uncover over 150 million in cash, I believe.
I think it's almost 300 now since I wrote that on the website. I have an app that does it for you. You just plug in like 9, 10 numbers and boom, it finds it for you.
Oh, what's that? What's the app called?
It's called the Clear Path to Cash, and you get it through a membership with Cashflow Mike, but you get the video courses where I teach you all the calculations. You get live coaching, like up to 15 hours a month. You can just jump in, ask questions, and you get the app.
Oh, wow. I like that service-based business. You don't have to worry about inventory and stock and...
But you got to worry about payroll. Remember, my first cash flow problem was all payroll.
Yeah. There's the emotional side of money as well, because money is emotional. What is the most common emotional blocks business owners have when it comes to facing their numbers?
Oh, frustration. Right? Just frustrated, not being able to figure it out, because none of us think that we're dumb, right? D-U-M-B. Not dumb as in unintelligent. It means I don't understand my business, right? And that's the way we feel frustrated. That was a copy of my first book. Don't be a dumb business owner.
Oh, wow.
So we just get frustrated because none of us think that we're not smart, right? We're in a business. We're like, we should be able to figure out anything. And you can. These things aren't hidden. It just takes a little bit of understanding. And I got to tell you what, Linda, I didn't understand math until I was a state trooper.
Wow.
And people go, what do you mean?
How? Yeah, because...
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Miles per hour? No,
Yeah. Fines.
yeah, fine. Yeah. Remember in school, everything's like repetition. You have to memorize different equations. You have to X and Y's and Z's and pluses. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of different things you have to memorize. Well, I wasn't that great at it. I'm not going to try to tell you any different. I became great at it when I was a state trooper because they sent me to this thing called the Accident Reconstruction School, where motor vehicles had accidents. And what connected then was it wasn't X, Y, and Z. It was real things that were happening in real life, and I could see it and put my hands on it. For instance, there's a speed calculation where you measure the distance of a skid mark. People put on their brakes and they slide across the surface. So you measure the length of the skid mark, and then you determine how slick a surface is using a kind of a tool. It's called a drag sled. And we'll tell you how slick, right? Because ice and grass is slicker than concrete and asphalt, right? So when you drag this thing across it, it tells you how much force it takes to pull. Well, that goes into a calculation that tells you the minimum speed that this car was driving. It had to be going this far to slide on that surface. I'm like going, oh my God, that makes perfect sense. All of a sudden, the world opened up to me. I'm like going, all I've got to do is connect math to something I can put my hands on. And that's where I talk about the inventory and touching it and putting my hands on it and how people move and the process and time cards and punches and how long it takes them to make a plate. All of a sudden, the world of math and business made sense because I could see it and I wasn't doing it on a spreadsheet. I was doing it, as it was happening.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. But when a business owner feels like their financial situation is just too far gone, what's the first small step that gives them back that control?
Ask for help.
Mm.
That's right. If you think it's too far gone,
Yeah.
and way before that, you just ask for help. There's plenty of folks out there that'll give you help. Linda, you'll probably give somebody help if you need it, if they need it, right? Just ask for help. Don't think that you failed because you asked somebody for help. I still have a mentor. I still have people that I bounce ideas off of. And this is after 14 companies. You know what 14 companies did was that it shortcutted a lot of the mistakes. I still make mistakes even in my business today, but I shortcutted all the ones that I already made. I'm like, oh, don't do that because it hurts when you do that. So
Yeah.
ask for help. Find somebody you trust and say, hey, listen, I don't get it. What am I doing wrong here? It's okay to ask for help.
With those 14 companies, what was some of the biggest mistakes that you've made?
One is the expansions, right? Thinking that I could sell my way out of a problem. That was probably the biggest mistake I made because it ended up maxing up my credit cards, taking a second mortgage on a house. I mean, dipping into my savings. I mean, all of those things that you're not supposed to do. I did all those things.
Mm.
After that, I think not listening to the customer was my next big mistake. Because when I started building software, I sold my staffing company in the bars in 2011 and got into software in 2012. And when I started building software, I thought if I just take all my experience and put it in software, that will help anybody. Well, there's a such thing as not listening to the customer. And that's exactly what I did because I'm like going, here's the product you need. And I put it in front of a group of people. And I was so excited because it took us a year to put this thing together, this first financial dashboard. I'm like going, oh, when people see this, it's going to change the world. Everybody's going to, they're going to throw money at us. We're going to have to sleep on piles of money. They have so much of it. No. I showed it to the first group of folks, about 25 people in kind of a demo, and they went,
And
it's
you
okay.
invested all that.
Yeah, that was the biggest humiliating thing in my life. Like, what do you mean? You don't get it? Because the thing that I boiled my life into that I knew so well, everything about it, other people just weren't on the same wavelength. They didn't think the way I had. They didn't have the same experience to understand that it could be helpful. So they went, it was okay. So the thing I do differently now is the products I build are a product of what I'm talking to people about. They say, here's my problem. I'm like, oh, we can help solve that. And everything has kind of come together because it's a culmination of everybody else's problems, not mine.
That's powerful too. At least you've learned. Yeah, that's why I've heard about with software, have an MVP. At least that way you can test it out.
Yeah. Mine went right in the trash. We
Wow.
started over.
Oh dear. Now, I want to talk about the reality of business in 2025. With inflation, there's lots of high overheads, market uncertainty, and AI as well. AI is changing things. So, what's the biggest cash flow trap business owners are falling into right now?
Yeah, I'll give you the advice first, which is control what you can control. You can't control tariffs. You can't control government decisions. You can't control any of those things. But you can control your cost. You can control what you price things at. So remember, if you say, well, nobody else is at that price, nobody else has your cost. When you say, I can't sell it for $1 more or 3 cents more or whatever it is because everybody else sells it for lower, nobody else has your cost. You have to fight that battle alone. So make sure that what you're doing in your business is covering your cost and giving you what I call transferable value, which is not only net profit to reinvest in the business, but transferable value is giving you money to fund whatever it is you want to do next. You might want to buy another company. You might want to retire. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do next, your business is supposed to transfer value from you to your bank account. That's why you're there.
I like that. What are your thoughts on AI? Because now AI is changing how we manage business operations. And I'm looking for a bookkeeper because I don't like doing the admin tasks. But then I realized obviously there would be AI bookkeeping tools, and I had a look and researched a few as well. But what are your thoughts on that? And should we think about AI tools or AI bookkeeping agents? And what are your thoughts? Have you used them previously?
It's crack. It's a drug you can get addicted to real fast, right? So
Definitely.
I use,
AI is
yeah,
it's
but
crack for sure. I mean, you rely on it afterwards so badly because, yeah,
yeah, right. I use it all the time. Matter of fact, the second
that's a
version
good
of my
one.
app.
Yeah.
So my whole new product that I'm getting ready to replace my old app with this new one is
Mm.
not all AI, but it's so directed and it encompasses all the good things about AI. AI can get out of control. AI can give you the wrong answer. The prompting has to be really tight, right? So believe it or not, we all had a second job now. We're called prompt engineers. We're all coding right now. So that means we
Mm.
have to be really concise with the language. So when you're using AI, you have to be really clear or it's going to expand what it thinks you mean, right? So everybody says, oh, just use natural language. Well, what AI can't do that you and I can do. You can look at my facial expression. You can see that I'm joking. You can whatever. When you do those little things that we interpret as natural as humans with AI, because it feels like you're talking to another human, it's going to misinterpret what you're asking, right? Because it's super literal. So you've got to be really concise with your language and it will actually give you better results, right? So what I've done with AI inside my new software product is sprinkled it into the right spots. I'm not having it do the heavy lifting of all of the work of analysis. I'm having it answer questions about the analysis that's already being done.
Mm. I guess that's a good idea. Eventually, I think it's just going to keep getting better and better. So many jobs are going to be replaced, especially some tedious tasks like bookkeeping.
It's funny. So last year at the Small Business Development Center conference in Atlanta, it was an AI conference for the most part for small business advisors, and so I gave out T-shirts to everybody that says, because I'm a math guy, it says AI and then the does not equal sign, the equal with a line through it, me, right?
Mm.
AI doesn't equal me because it still doesn't have my instinct, my sense of humor, my timing, my perception of how the world works and interacts. And I still have to tell it what to do, right? It's just not going to
Mm.
do it for me. I have to kind of tell it what to do, even if it's giving it instructions.
Yeah, that's powerful. What's your definition of success? How would you personally define success?
I think family time. That's a weird thing to say, but I want to come into my office in the morning. I want to work till I'm done, and I don't want to look back at this office. I want to spend time with family. I want to go do things. I want to get out from this computer. I don't want to be addicted to crack AI anymore.
Crack AI.
So to me, I want to go out and do things like I used to do. I want to go play more golf. I want to go, to more football games. I want to go out and fish. I want to do these things that I used to do, you know, in my lifetime. And to me, success is getting back to that, getting back to just being outside
Yeah, that's
with
powerful.
people,
That's
with people
beautiful.
I love. Yeah, with people that I love.
Yeah, having that connection as well. Because even though AI might take over a lot of jobs, there are that jobs that just AI will not be able to replace, and that's the human connection type of roles as well. So, yeah, until robots
Yeah.
take over.
I don't think AI is going to take jobs. It's going to be somebody that knows how to use AI is going to take your job.
Yeah, that's true. If they can leverage it. I always tell my employees, leverage it as much as you can. It's going to make you
Oh,
more
yeah,
efficient. So, yeah,
that's right.
it's a tool that we should be enabling. Is there any key messages that you want to leave with the audience? And guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know if you found any of Mike's valuable. For me, I found a lot of valuable advice and tips. Let me know what tip resonated with you and what key actions are you going to take with you. So, if you're listening on the podcast, just hit that follow button because it does help the platform grow. Mike, yeah, what's one last key message and where can people find you if they want to connect?
Understand this. I like how you said money's emotional, and I think it has an energy, either positive or negative. You either feel good about it or bad about it. Nobody's just kind of like, money, who cares? Nobody's like
Mm,
that, right? So,
that's true.
but it's one of those things where it has an energy, but in order to get it, you have to attract it. You can't chase it. So, in your world, whatever you're doing, be a magnet to money, right? People, it will
Mm,
attract it. Don't chase it. People smell desperation. They smell, fear on you. Oh, I don't have enough money. Those type of things. You ever talk to a salesperson? You might have even felt it from the person across the line. Attract
mm,
it. Find the message of where you can be somebody's problem solver. Even if you're in a restaurant, you're solving a hunger problem. Every business solves a problem. Figure out how to show that you're the best in the world at it.
powerful. And where can people find you and connect with you?
Super easy. So just go to cashflowmike.com, and it's on the internet. I've got a YouTube channel. I've got a podcast that's called Mike and Blaine, Business Beer and BS. If you like stories, if you think that I can tell some good stories, go listen to us there. If you want to reach out, super easy email address, cashflowmike@cashflowmike.com. Comes right to
Thank
me,
you.
believe it or not. So you can reach out to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike, for your time. It was awesome conversation.
All righty. Hey, Linda, I appreciate you, and a great conversation, man. I really got into it. So thank you very much.